College football recap. Week 9. We are back after another fantastic weekend of college football. As usual, I'm joined by the man who's American made. He's also made 7 feet tall. Our buddy David Cohn over there rocking that hat, which I love. It's one of my favorite hats. I should have worn it today. Then my brother. He's a great painter, especially with his fingers. Blaine Crain, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver. First off, guys, your overall thoughts. There's a ton to get into. Obviously, got to get into A&M, LSU. I mean, we had rivalry games left and right. Michigan State, Florida State, Miami. But starting with you, Diesel, what was your overall? What would be your word for the weekend if I put you on the spot? What's your word of the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, steady, I guess. Not quite as crazy as the last 2 weekends. Indiana just continues to say, like, hey, like, we're really, really good. Y'all can't overlook us. BYU, we're really, really good. Underdogs on the road at UCF. Why? Who knows? Who cares? We're just going to go out there and roll them. Texas A&M, I know we're going to get into that. Man, what a performance. Can't wait to break that game down. And then, a lot of what we talked about when it came to Alabama and Missouri as well. So continuing to put a little bit of information together here for a lot of these teams. And how about Vanderbilt, man? Finding a way to keep that one close.
Blaine, what did you think? I noticed you put the gun alcohol tweet up pretty quickly during the Auburn game yesterday. Yeah. But somehow they found a way. You had to take the goat path, right, to get behind Leonidas, but you got behind him. That's what matters.
I mean, sooner or later, you're going to play a team that's worse than you in the SEC, and they did that Saturday in Kentucky. I can't remember the last time I've watched Auburn win a game and had no fun watching it. Last 4 minutes of that game scared the hell out of me. Quick synopsis over the weekend. Navy tricked everybody.
Dude, don't fumble. Don't fumble your first 3 drives.
6 of them?
You fumbled. You have 2 turnovers the entire year walking into this game.
Dude.
And you turned it over 6 times. And another thing is, how important is the running game in college football? It's pretty damn important.
Yeah.
Unbelievably important. All right. Well, we're going to get to the chat. Remember, if you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. Not doing call-ins today. We're going to be back with those tomorrow. Want to start, obviously, with what a lot of people thought was going to be the game of the weekend. And ended up, being a good game. But at the end, it seemed like it wasn't even that close. A&M ends up beating LSU 38-23. I guess I'm not the reason that LSU was winning. So I picked against them the last couple weekends, picked against them again with A&M. But, Cone, starting with you, when you look at the numbers, right, there was obviously a drastic difference in what the teams were able to do and what they were willing to do. You look at Texas A&M, Marcel Reed comes in, did a good job on the ground. He's 2 for 2 passing for 70 yards. Connor Wegman was 6 of 18 for 64 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Combined, they're 8 of 20 for 134 yards. Meanwhile, on the other side, Garrett Nussmeier goes 25 of 50 for 405 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. But, David, LSU couldn't get the ball going on the ground. That ended up being the difference in this game to me. Plus the turnovers by Nussmeier. We wondered how, Elko and them were going to approach this game. Were they going to try and overcomplicate it for him? Or were they going to try and beat him with simplicity and let him overthink it? I didn't think Garrett played bad. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to run the ball and you're not able to be balanced, you're not going to be able to score enough points. And what A&M did in the second half, you scored 7 points in the first half. You're down 17-7. Then you scored 31 points combined in the third and fourth quarter, shut LSU out in the third quarter. And by the time they got that 6 in the fourth, the game was already over. Just, again, A&M finding ways to win games. Is this the best team we've ever seen? No, but is this a team that can beat you in multiple ways and presents a problem? Yeah.
Maybe I'm the problem for LSU. Maybe I'm the jinx, because when I take them, they lose. When I pick against them, somehow they win. I think anybody that's watched LSU football this season understands LSU wins when Garrett Nussmeier takes care of the football. When you go back to the USC game, turn the football over, they lost. You go back to that South Carolina game, he turned the football over. They had to hang on and fight their way to a win. Even Ole Miss there, I think he had a couple turnovers, and that one was, really close, had to play his way out of it late. And then again here, turn the football over. And with that sort of, he's an old school true gunslinger, can make every throw in the book, man. And when it looks good, it looks really, really good. NFL caliber throws. And on the flip side of that is he will put the football in harm's way. And he did that yesterday, and he just so happened to do it at the same time understand that Marcel Reed is coming in the game and giving Texas A&M a spark. And if he doesn't come in the game, I don't know. Maybe LSU finds a way to get over those turnovers, kind of like they did against Ole Miss. I'm not sure, but what that kid was able to do, and you know, when at the point in the game when I was really saying, oh, Texas A&M is really going to win, is they had a 1st and 10 play, and Marcel Reed's throwing the football 35 yards down the field on the seam against a single high safety. It's not just running zone read and power zone. It's like, oh, this kid has all the tools, you know, and a couple things for the running game. It looked like LSU was going to be able to get it started earlier in the game, but then it just faltered. And on the flip side of that, Texas A&M's was coming on late in the game. They rushed for 42 against this LSU defense, man. That LSU defense that had continued to improve and improve. Can't give up 242, man, not on the road and win football games.
No, and Blaine, you can't get run on and turn the ball over. That's winning fentanyl. Just real quickly, David, to your point, the leading rushers for LSU, Josh Williams, 7 carries for 23 yards. Caden Durham, 11 carries for 15 yards. This A&M front seven, you talked about how the front seven was helping out the back end heading into this week. My question to you, Blaine, obviously, just what do you think about the game? And does A&M have 2 quarterbacks? Are they have to play 2 quarterbacks like this? Should
No,
they
you
just
have
play
one
Reed?
quarterback.
I mean, what do you think A&M should do moving forward?
I mean, it kind of depends on what you want to do. I mean, if you want to do the 2 platoon quarterback system, you can. You have the opportunity to do that. But I think one thing about Mike Elko, which I enjoyed, and one thing you can't really teach, it kind of makes me think about the Oppenheimer movie when they look at him and said, you can't do the numbers, but can you hear the music?
Yeah, can you hear it? Yeah,
Mike Elko can hear the music, right? He can hear the groans of the fans in the stadium, and he needed a spark, and he needed an energy source, and he found that with his backup quarterback. I mean, you come in, your numbers aren't crazy, but you score on 4 out of 5 drives, right? You hit big plays, you make big plays in big moments. It just opens up your offense. So I think A&M right now, I mean, if you look at it, they can do the 2 quarterback platoon system if they want to. I think both these quarterbacks are good enough to do that, and Mike has a good enough feel to wander his way through those woods. But, man, I said it a long time ago, and that's why I was surprised when Elko put Wegman back in. I think Marcel's your guy. I really do think he's your future. So if it's me, I'm going with Marcel. I think I know where when the kitchen light turns on and I need to walk in and get some food, and I'm gonna go sit down with that guy and eat.
Yeah, well, I mean, David, I get I don't think he's just your future. I think he's your right now. I mean, if you're gonna beat some of these teams that can out personnel you, because A&M's got good personnel, they don't have the best in the country. But if you're gonna win the SEC or be able to win the SEC and then get in the playoff, having a guy that can run the ball like that, I mean, we've seen what it obviously has done for Jalen Milroe. You see what it does for a guy like Dylan Gabriel, who can run too. We saw that yesterday. It just seems to me Marcel Reed overall, because Wegman looked great against Missouri, right? But outside of that, been kind of stagnant, doesn't really give you that incredibly athletic element that you're going to get with Marcel. I mean, are you sticking with Reed going forward here?
Well, I thought he would a couple weeks ago. That's why it shocked everybody when Mike Elko went back to Connor Wegman. I mean, clearly he did that because he's seeing something that we're not on the practice field. But, Connor Wegman did look good in the pocket with his mobility. So I don't think this is
I agree with that.
He moved well in the pocket. Outside the pocket, though, LSU was able to, really contain him in a way they weren't able to contain Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed is a great running quarterback, and I think people out there listening need to understand the distinction between someone who's a great running quarterback and someone who's just fast. Like just being fast or just being quick or just being big, powerful runner, that doesn't make you a great running back or a great running quarterback. The decision-making on when to pull those zone reads and when to hand those zone reads off. It was just instrumental down the stretch in that game. And when he starts to add the RPO behind that as he gets older, it's going to be lethal. But on the Texas A&M side of things, now you go to South Carolina, right? And South Carolina, you never know what you're going to get, right? You could go on the road and lose that game. You could go on the road and win by 25. New Mexico State, then you go on the road and play Auburn, and then you get Texas last game of the season in College Station. I mean, what if we've been talking about this a little bit. What if Texas A&M and Texas faced off last week of the season right there at Thanksgiving to see who goes to the SEC championship game, or maybe it's already locked in? And what if we're in a situation where it's which defense can play better quicker to make the other team make a quarterback change? That's what we really could be looking at.
No, without a doubt. And I want to get to the chat, Blaine. I know they're buzzing over there about this game, but as far as LSU's defense, I know there'll be some people that say, oh, well, it's just LSU's defense regressing back. I know they gave up some runs on the ground. But I thought overall LSU's defense gave them a chance. Don't forget, I mean, they snapped one off the holder on field goal, which kept points off the board. I know that's offensively. The turnovers by Nussmeier put him in some bad spots a couple times. I didn't think this LSU defense played awful. I thought their third down plan that Blake had was really good. It was about what they've done. They got a little exotic, but always pretty much ended up bringing 4. I don't think LSU's done, but now they got to be perfect and thread the needle the rest of the way.
Yep, I don't think 3 losses is going to get you into the playoffs. All right, Chad, hit that subscribe button if you donate on topic. It will get read. We're going to start the day off with Danny. Danny, what's up? Because I've decided to blame Blaine for our game because he picked us to win. By doing this, he transferred his Auburn juju to my team and made them beat themselves. # sad tiger. Today.
Get it out.
I don't know what to do with LSU.
Just get it out.
Just
get
it
out.
They lose,
No.
I don't know.
We'll
Just
take
get
that
it out.
All right, let's go to Kevin Smith. Kevin, what's up, brother? He says, good morning, college football fans. It is a great day to be an Aggie. Gig 'em, Mike Elko, coach for life.
Look, they fall hard over there. They fall in love really hard over there at A&M. I mean, right now, 7-1, 5-0 in the SEC. Jimbo could never.
All right, let's go to Steve to the O. What's up, brother? He says, guys, I don't know if y'all know, but college kickers made 70% of their field goals yesterday. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
70%. I wonder what the weekly average is in the NFL.
Dude, I still think that's almost the biggest distinction between college and NFL.
Is the kicking, how good the kickers are. It's insane how good
50 yarders are nothing now.
Oh, I know. It's insane. Did y'all see where Brandon Aubrey had to get served on that 12-person jury?
Yeah, I did.
Kicker for the Cowboys.
Doing his duty.
Yeah. He's like, guys, listen, I think he's guilty. I got to be out of here by 4. We play the Ravens tonight.
All right, let's go to Connor. Connor, what's up, man? It says, Kyle Field is a hard place to play at. Texas A&M played well. I don't think this loss should be detrimental to LSU, and I don't think they're knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah, David, they're not. We've said this multiple times. 10-2 is getting you in.
Yeah,
like 10-2 is getting you in. Like the only team I'd be a little bit nervous if I was 10-2, possibly out of the SEC or the Big Ten, is Missouri if they don't get a bigger win. Right, but still, I think a 10-2 Missouri gets in. So you're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and obviously they'll have that annual bye year before they host Alabama in Baton Rouge, and then they go to Florida, they host Vanderbilt, and then they host Oklahoma to end the season. So, look, all winnable games. The question is, are they out of the SEC championship? Because, if you lost yesterday, you'd like to lose to an SEC team that at least already had one loss in conference. Texas A&M doesn't have that, so now they're going to have to drop 2 of them to overcome that head-to-head.
Well, I mean, Texas A&M's, really there may be a couple others if they play each other, but they're the only team in the SEC that controls their own destiny, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're 5-0 in the conference. Nobody else is undefeated in the conference, unless I'm losing my mind.
True.
So when you look at it, if you're A&M, I mean, hell, if you get to the point where you're undefeated, in conference up to the Texas game, you're going to be in the SEC championship regardless. It should be, because Georgia and Tennessee will have played. One of those teams will have 2 losses. Pretty much Georgia lost to Texas. It's going to be wild down the stretch.
$10 donation from Django. Appreciate it, Django. This is the second time an opposing QB has talked ish about Kyle Field not being an advantage, and this is the second QB that has fallen victim to the 12th man. Crazy game last night. Gig 'em, Aggies. First of all, those uniforms, gas.
Yeah, it's
absolute. It's hard to play bad in those.
It is. I mean, the All Blacks always go hard. The All Whites always go hard. I saw some people, LSU fans were trashing it because they're like, oh, well, it's just easy to do All Black. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't know. The script on the helmets, I thought it was I thought it looked good on TV too when you looked at the opposing uniforms. I love LSU's color combo. Mm-hmm. But you mix that with the All Black, and that went pretty hard. But all right, one more.
Kyle Field was absolutely jumping.
It was rocking.
Let's go to Joe Nelson. What's up, Joe? He says, I will let Elko pick the Aggie QB. He can pick anything he wants to. Just going to enjoy my first place in the SEC. And to be honest, we might be the best team in the country.
I love it. Fall hard. Go. What's that song, David? It's like, go on and fall. Or whatever. Like, fall hard. You should. Mike Elko came on before the year. Told you, listen, it's not flashy. He's not going to just whisk you away and take you to Milan for the summer, you know what he's going to do?
Mike Elko's Brian Kelly's stepdad.
He's going to get a manual labor job. All right. He's going to move those broken bricks from lot to lot all summer. All right. Because it teaches you a lesson, fundamentals, blocking, tackling. A&M, it's not flashy, Coney. But
Didn't he say that after the game? Didn't he say this is a real program? He's like, I'm not a politician head coach. If you want to come here and be a better football player, come to Texas A&M. He said that.
It. He's a perfect fit for it. And we called it right when it happened.
And you kind of got the opposite. I mean, really, you got the opposite when Jimbo Fisher was there.
Yeah, Jimbo was about
everything.
The
it
lights.
Was bright lights.
Yeah,
it was Hollywood. It was how much money do you want?
It was midlife crisis.
This guy is a 7-star.
It was
from the Sahara
I wasn't in
Desert.
a boy band growing up. I want to relive what it would have been like.
With Mike Elko, you get the same cafeteria food every day.
You do.
Every day with
peanut butter and jelly and get on the bus.
Same facial expression every day.
Yeah, it's like that. He still watches. You know, he uses VCR. Like Mike Elko doesn't even have a DVD player.
Wait, y'all don't?
Yeah,
he has the lamp. You got to pull down to turn off next to his chair.
All right, let's David. Let's move on. Let's go to another big game yesterday. Texas survives. I thought Vanderbilt was going to do it. I thought they were going to do it, but they weren't able to control the time of possession like they did against Alabama. They weren't able to convert on third down, and I will say there was a lot more third and longs against Texas. But man, it got off like with that start. It was kind of similar to the Bama game, right? You got the tip pass interception. Now against Bama, Vandy ran it all the way back. Texas knocked it down, and he thought, all right, well, which way is Quinn Ewers going to go? Well, he went one way, and it was the right way. He was damn near perfect the rest of the way out. But they still snuck in late, Dave. I mean, got an onside or attempted an onside kick. This Texas team, you know, you got to survive that one. It's a little bit of a different flavor of ice cream now when you go play Vanderbilt. But Vandy, I mean, it was a good showing. They covered. That's all I needed from them. But there was some game pressure there. And where are you at on Texas? Are you in a better place than you were after they lost to Georgia about them? Or are you kind of in the same spot?
You know, I mean, you would like to see Texas the week after that loss to Georgia come out and say, look, we got to take this out on someone. Sorry, Vanderbilt, you just happen to be next, right? And just absolutely thrash them. But again, a couple things. This is not that Vanderbilt team anymore. This is not your grandfather's Vanderbilt team. And Diego Pavia is not the type of quarterback you want to be facing when you're trying to, get back right and have a 35-point victory. I don't know how many times they need to keep proving themselves. Now, for Vanderbilt, you can't lose the turnover battle to Texas and win the game, even if you're at home. Like, you're just not going to do that. I was surprised they turned Quinn over twice. I still think that's problematic. But again, look, Vanderbilt's just a really good football team. And can you imagine beating Alabama and losing to Texas by 3 in the same season? I mean, Clark Lee, I know they lost and, had Texas on the ropes, a chance to win at the end, but man, he had to be over there smiling inside.
Blaine, was there ever a point in that game you thought Texas was going to lose?
I would say no, not really.
No, not even at the beginning?
No. Even with Vandy going to score early. Vandy's the closest thing you'll get to the Permian Panthers from Friday Night Lights we'll get in a long time. And it's got that feel to it, too. Like with Pavia and,
he's got some Winchell in him.
I don't know if Chavo plays safety or not, but I'm sure they got a couple back there in the back end. I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, it's just the way this Vandy team's built. Like, people just need to realize that Vandy's a damn good football team. Like, they're just a good football team. They have depth. They have an experienced quarterback. They have guys who know how to make plays in big moments, and they're not afraid of the moment. I've never once seen a Vanderbilt team tiptoe their way into a situation. It's either I'm going to break one thing or I'm going to break everything in this house. There's really no in between, and that's what I enjoy from a football team. All right, that's what I enjoy. I thought it's just – they're one of those teams, man. If they would have got that onside kick, if they would have won that game, Clark Lee should have won head coach of the year for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's I never really thought that when you watch Vanderbilt trying to tackle in space, that's a big 12 or a big tell. Obviously, if you're getting mauled up front at the line of scrimmage, you're going to be able to say, all right, well, eventually this dam's going to break. It wasn't that. I thought they held up pretty decent against the run. It was whether it's on swing passes, whether it's now screens, whether it's bubble screens, whether it's just normal screens, when they got in space, Vanderbilt really, really struggled to get these guys on the ground. They didn't tackle as well as they did against Alabama, who's got some guys that can really make you miss in space. So where I sit on Texas, Coney, I mean, they're a top 5 team to me. I just, that was a game I expected them to have to survive, and they did. And moving forward, I mean, we're going to see, can this team become elite? But you do got to feel a little bit better about Quinn Ewers the way he finished.
Yeah, now they got Florida at home. Well, they'll get a bye, too, before that. So Florida at home when we next see them. Arkansas on the road, and Arkansas third game this season, putting up over 600 total yards of offense. Big win for them. Kentucky at home, and then obviously on the road in College Station.
Yeah, it could come down to that last weekend, which would be absolutely insane. All right, let's move on here, guys. A little double up here in the Big Ten. Ohio State sneaks past Nebraska. Had to score a touchdown late in that game. I watched every snap. Pretty damn good game. And Oregon, I mean, they went Charlie's Angels 3 full throttle on Illinois. Illinois just couldn't stop the explosive plays. Let's start with Ohio State here. Dave, this is a game a lot of people in Nebraska got absolutely walked last week by Indiana, who had another big win over Washington without Rourke at quarterback. Game day was there. But when you look at this Ohio State team, I want to make sure we give Nebraska credit. I thought Raiola did some good things. I thought they were able to run the ball well enough to create some problems for Ohio State. But you look at the turnovers, that's what kept Nebraska around in the game. And the question we asked before the season, for Ohio State to win a national championship, at some point Will Howard is going to have to be really accurate against good defenses. He shows flashes sometimes, David, where I'm like, yes, all right, I get it, I believe. And then other times I look and I'm like, no, I don't believe. I don't believe. What do you believe?
I believe hats off to Nebraska for coming out and fighting the way they did. After you get blown out by Indiana, you come out. I mean, the horseshoe, that's no easy place to go and keep a game tight, man. And so hats off to them and the way that Dylan Raiola was playing. Obviously, the Buckeyes, they're going to hit big plays, guys. They're just built for big plays. I've seen it for 20 years at this point. I guess what surprised me was twofold. One, the rushing disparity. Nebraska 121 on the ground for rush yards, and then the Buckeyes 64 yards. I'm really surprised to see that. And then the third down conversion. This Buckeyes defense, we had talked about some of the ways that they're vulnerable after that Oregon game. Well, 5 for 16 Nebraska was on third down. And on the flip side of that, with Chip Kelly calling plays and all these offensive weapons, the Buckeyes were 1 for 10 on third down. So those were two things that I was really surprised to see. And just down the stretch, I was watching it at Mission Cigar. There were some Buckeyes fans in there. It is a deep sigh of relief there at the very end for them to survive Nebraska.
Blaine, what if I told you Dylan Raiola had more rushing yards than Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson?
I wouldn't believe you at all.
Guess what he did
for a second.
idiot.
I just don't I don't understand. Help me understand. Your offensive line isn't great. That's understandable, but you're Ohio State. You don't have a bunch of middle schoolers out there playing. You have Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
And you left a game against Nebraska, which if there's anything I took from this Ohio State-Nebraska game is that I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana kicks Ohio State's ass.
I don't think that's crazy.
Quinshon Judkins had 30 yards rushing. Travion Henderson has 25 yards rushing. I don't care who's on that side for Nebraska. It's not Ndamukong Suh and somebody else, Nick Fairley. I don't know. There should be no excuse for you to spend $20 million on football players and two of your best, you can't get over 40 yards rushing with.
Well, David, it's one of those things where they know, like Ryan Day deep down knows, to win the actual national championship at some point, Will Howard is going to have to make those throws. And look, he was 13 of 16 for 221, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Wasn't like he had a bad day. But do you think maybe they're just trying to get him in those scenarios? I know they want to beat everybody by 50, but if it does happen, putting all that weight on him. So by the time you get to the Big Ten championship game, or by the time you get to the playoff, and now you're playing Georgia, like in the second round, he doesn't crap his pants when it's his time because he's gotten some practice.
Look, they have all the weapons to still win this whole thing, man. Even yesterday at halftime when it was 14-6, and people are like, "Oh, Nebraska's playing with the Buckeyes." I'm like, "Yeah, I see this every week. It's 14-6. It'll be 54-6 or 54-12, at the end of this game." So the second half performance is really what I was surprised. Not for the Buckeyes not to have those explosive plays on the ground like what you're talking about, Blaine. For Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson at some point not to have the big 64-yarder on the ground that really breaks through, and then all of a sudden they go four unanswered scores or something like that. But again, I just think Nebraska's well coached. They're coming off an embarrassing loss, and they fought their hearts out.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, it ended up being a hell of a game. I mean, at the end there, you hit a couple of those big plays down the stretch. Ohio State did, and then were able to find the end zone. But if you're a Nebraska fan, I know a lot of them. We have a lot of them that watch our show. Obviously, y'all thought you were going to get y'all's ass kicked in this game, and then you look up and got a chance in the fourth quarter. Not only have a chance, you got a lead with like 7 minutes to go that you end up giving up. But quickly, Blaine, Oregon dispatched Illinois pretty easily. I mean, from the jump, we talked about it. Oregon's just going to get you out in space, and Illinois wasn't able to answer. I thought Oregon's defense did a really good job not letting Altmaier create too much or have too much success when he did create, because he damn sure tried.
Yeah, Oregon's a legitimate problem. And I'll tell you one guy I just enjoy watching play football. Other than Tez, I mean, yeah, for any receiver that looks like that. But there's just some guys when it comes to watching sports you enjoy watching. Like Ken Griffey, I enjoyed watching smooth swings. Some guys got smooth shots. I just enjoy watching Dylan Gabriel play football.
He can spin it.
I enjoy watching him play quarterback. He never looks rushed. He looks poised. He looks like he knows exactly what knows what he's looking at. He looks like he's been in college for 15 years. He kind of looks like Rufio from Peter Pan.
He is 100%,
which makes it a little bit easier to watch. But I mean, at this point, I think Oregon is slowly pulling themselves away as the number one team in the country. And I can feel comfortable sitting up here and saying that right now. I mean, you look at the landscape for everybody else, I wouldn't be surprised or perturbed if Oregon's favored against everybody they play in the country or beat everybody they play in the country.
I've never heard you use that word before. David, you got any words you want to use you've never used before?
Yeah, after watching Oregon yesterday, it was the first time this season where I thought, oh, yeah, they're the best team in the country. Not just ranked number one. I mean, I put them number one after they beat the Buckeyes at home, right? That's the number one ranking. But, hey, let's still see. I'm talking about on both sides of the football, balanced, complete team. I'm just like, that may be the best team in the country, and it may not really be close right now. And, look, they're coming into the heart of their schedule. Obviously, there's still a ways to go. But man, they're doing things on both sides of the football that are so impressive. And I'll tell you one thing that really stood out to me yesterday. We talk a lot about the way that Oregon supplements their run game with the quick pass game. So the now screen, tunnel screen. We've talked about that even going back to last year with Bo Nix. And some people criticize that. Oh, yeah, you broke the percentage completion record because, all the passes are short. Or sometimes when it's not working, Oregon fans will reach out to me on social media and say, we're not pushing the football down the field. But those now screens and those tunnel screens and getting the football out to playmakers quick, what I noticed yesterday, especially against this Illinois team who has a good defense, it keeps defenses from being able to tee off on you on third down. And when they brought pressure, Dylan Gabriel gets the ball out now. And when they're backing out of pressure because they're afraid of the now screen, he has all day to push the football down to these playmakers. That's tough to defend against, especially when on the defensive side, Oregon's not giving up anything, man.
No, I go back to what we talked about last week. I mean, we're looking for that complete team, right? Which it's almost like on one of those like cooking shows at the end, what they judge it on, like presentation, then like how well it was cooked and then how well it tastes. That's kind of like how we're doing. I'm looking at Oregon right now. It's a great job, chef. Great job all around. What Will Stein and Lanning and them are cooking up over there in Oregon seems to be working. You mentioned it. The schedule is going to continue to get tougher. They got that huge win against Ohio State at home and look like they're cruising.
Well, they've gotten better every week, and that's what championship teams need to do. I mean, it was not pretty early on based on the roster they had. They've gotten better every week.
Well, we haven't had a lot of consistency, at the top in this year in college football, and it has been a race, for that team that can be somewhat complete, and it looks like Oregon kind of pulling into the lead there, Frankie Muniz style. Blaine, did you watch that Penn State game?
I did.
Man, that was scary for a while. I was worried about Penn State.
We talked about this on the show. It felt like a Penn State cover, but it just felt like a weird game.
Yeah.
It felt like a trap game. It felt like the last couple of weeks, Wisconsin has only gotten better, especially on that offensive side of the ball, which is good to see if you're a Wisconsin and especially if you're an offensive fan. But Penn State's a good football team, man. They're just a good football team. They find ways to win. Drew Aller getting pulled, their backup coming in, looking nice. I wouldn't be
He
surprised.
got hurt though, right?
He got. I'm pretty
What-
sure
what
he
happened
got
to
banged
him?
up.
Was that an excuse?
No,
Well, I had the 4 box on it, so I didn't have my volume.
he
on
got
that.
rolled up a little bit. It was nothing crazy to me.
Well, he was 14 of 18 for 150 and a touchdown. I mean, the other kid came in, the Bo Pribula kid came in and went 11 of 13 for 98 yards and a touchdown. So I don't know if he got banged up and they just replaced him there in the second half. That's probably what happened. But Cody, or Blaine, I'm going to say it to you. When you look at this Penn State team, like how are you judging them compared to like an Oregon that we saw against Ohio State, or like a Georgia that we saw against Texas, or even, a Bama that we saw against Tennessee? Like, where do you put Penn State? Because that was what, we did our top 10 this week. That was kind of the biggest area of discussion.
Well, I think Penn State right now, I mean, there's a team you can look at in college football, and I think they could play with anybody in college football. That's the Oregons, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Texas. Well, there used to be Alabama's. And just the way they're built, too. Defensively, I think they've been good. Not great this year. They've had some injuries, especially in the back end and in that secondary. But, man, there's just a new offense they have. It's what they were missing with James Franklin. It gives them that extra step. It lets you put that foot through that extra door. And even with Drew Aller going out 14 to 18, 148, this Bo kid came in, made big passes and big moments, and he used his feet, right? Yeah. And I think that can be a difference when you play a team like Ohio State or the big dogs in the conference. So I'm just telling you now, there will be some interesting conversations going around this Bo kid and Drew Aller these upcoming years.
Well, I mean, Cone, you look at the two-headed rushing attack Penn State has too, with Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. I mean, they combined, they had 23 carries yesterday for about $140, nothing crazy. But the way they're able to catch the ball, the way they're able to protect, that depth that they have there, and that's not even bringing up Tyler Warren.
No, that's
who looked
like on their offense.
and he seemed like he was the only dude playing offense against USC. But when you look at this Penn State team, I mean, Cone, you played at Michigan. You've kept track of the Big Ten as long as anybody. You've seen kind of the same flavor of Penn State ice cream that we've had in previous years. How different is this team? It's another thing we talked about this week as compared to the ones that are kind of the running joke for Penn State not being able to, I want to say get over the hump, but everybody in the chat is going to make a joke about it. So whatever.
We'll find out Saturday. Their judgment comes down Saturday. The Penn State hasn't had a problem beating the Wisconsins of the world and beating, the Illinois of the world. They play the Buckeyes on Saturday. That's when we really get to find out. And I told you guys, in a year where we thought they would benefit so greatly from not having divisions in the conference and they don't have Michigan on the schedule, this is a year they'd love to have Michigan, right?
Yeah.
To increase, to have a big brand win, right? Because I think they would handle Michigan thoroughly, but they're not on the schedule. Oregon's not on the schedule. It's the Buckeyes, and you get to host them at home. That's where the Penn State judgment will come down. And I just hope Drew Aller's healthy for it, just so we really get to find out. I hope he's not banged up where it's an excuse. And man, Penn State could have finally beaten them, but this is where we really find
Can
out.
I ask you something? Just why? Why is this game getting played at noon?
Yeah, I don't know why y'all do that.
Why are we doing this? Why isn't it 7 o'clock at night
Right,
in Happy
prime
Valley
time.
and they're banging Mo Bamba in a white
Well,
house?
it's funny. You may have teams from the West Coast, but that doesn't mean you have to play like the time of the games the same as they do, like or like earlier because
Michigan, Ohio every year noon kickoff.
Well, why do y'all like what is that?
Y'all.
Yeah,
If I
Big
hire
Ten,
me, I'll
man.
figure it out. It ain't y'all. I would go in there and really fix some things. But
David, why do you want them to play at noon?
don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
I've really never understood that either, though.
I don't either.
Who wants to have their party then? Like, I don't want.
I knew
if it was
Michigan or
what
what it was. Like, y'all
also-
just got lights on the field, didn't you?
Yeah, well, like 10 years ago. But yeah,
Okay.
that's a great point. Michigan playing Michigan State at night last night. Could we not have played the Texas game at night? But that's a whole different. At least Paul Bunyan's staying in Ann Arbor, guys. Paul Bunyan
Knew it.
staying in Ann Arbor,
Knew
not
it.
going back to East Lansing. They tried to get Chippy at the end. That's fine. You heard what Colston Loveland said. I don't need to repeat his words here. Okay.
What did he say? What did he say? I didn't see.
He said little bro doing little bro things.
Look, you win, you talk.
I don't know why, but I just took offense to that.
Hey,
And that's a self-own then.
Hey, there was actually some pretty good quarterback play going on last night in that game. Or it wasn't as bad as what we thought.
Look, if you're going to have a quarterback system like that and you're going to bring Orgy in on rundowns, that's the way you do it. And off tackle too, not up the middle. He had a lot of success off tackle, big rushing touchdown at the end. No turnover. Look, boys, Michigan yesterday, 0 turnovers, 0 penalties. When's the last time you heard that? 0 turnovers, 0 penalties. That's how you win football games.
You heard that and Auburn wins in the same sentence.
Yeah, I know. Like I was kind of worried that the meteor was going to hit yesterday. But David, that game win, I think, like Sharon Moore had planned on this year going with Davis Warren. 13-19, buck 23 in the air, 1 touchdown. You bring in Donovan Edwards, right, to do your Wildcat thing. You bring in Orgy to rush the ball 6 times for 64 yards. Donovan Edwards, you give it to him 9 times. Mullins, you give it to him 13 times. Didn't really have that many yards. Michigan State, was going to try and take that away. But that's all I think Sharon Moore and them had planned to do. But not some high-flying Cirque du Soleil stuff with a bunch of people with oil all over them doing like push-ups and stuff.
Where every win is ugly. A few people said that, like, oh, it wasn't pretty, but we won. It's not going to be pretty. You're not going to beat anyone in a beautiful way, right? You're not going to beat people the way Oregon's beating people. No turnovers and no penalties. That's beautiful to me. Win by 7 and get them out of there.
Yeah, Michigan was never going to be a beauty pageant contestant this year. It's going to be more like one of those things where you go to the fair and they have like the competition to see who can call the hogs the best.
And that's a great Saturday night.
Make the pig noise. And that is a great Saturday night. A lot of people find the love of their lives there. And they also meet their girlfriends too.
Not the pig.
All right. Blaine, what we got going in the chat?
I was going to Brian Martin. Brian, what's up? He says, still marked as an L for me on the calendar as a Penn State fan. But I think the Ohio State game is going to be a little closer than we expected.
It's a new. What's that? What's that commercial? Like I'm trying to remember that product. No, it's like it's a new day. Like what is it? It's like I think it's like insurance for old people. I can't remember. Not life insurance. It's something. It's like it's a new day. That's what it feels like at Penn State. That's why I keep telling everybody: don't look at this Penn State team and just look at their record and say, "Oh, well, it's the same Penn State." Right? No, this team is not the same. They may lose to Ohio State because Ohio State's damn good, right? We know how talented that roster is. But this isn't Penn State that, let's go run the ball 95 times a game and just hope to win it with defense and special teams and making a couple field goals. Or maybe Sean Clifford's 100-year-old ass can run around and make a play at some point. That's not who this team is. They bring in Kotelnicki over from Kansas. They're able to be explosive because they take chances that allow them to be explosive in big games, and I think Drew Aller has more ability than some of us thought. I questioned his ability as a passer. Now, I still don't think he's excellent or elite. I think he's just better and fits this offense. I mean, look at what happened to Kansas since Kotelnicki left. So I tell everybody we had somebody that put in the chat, oh, well, Penn State's going to blow it. They always do. And they may lose to Ohio State, which they could still make the playoff. But this is not 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Penn State. This is kind of a different version.
God, that Kansas game was tough last night, too, if y'all got to watch that.
Man, Kansas State was my 6th leg of a 6-legger. Last one, man, needed them to win.
And they came through. That's what happens when you reverse eat that burrito like a man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the new life. What's up, man? He says, I don't trust Franklin when the chips are down. Good for them. They get Buckeyes in Happy Valley, but he cannot win it when it matters.
We'll see. I think this team's a little bit different. Again, I'm not picking who I think is going to win that game yet. I wonder what the line's going to be on it, actually. But it's this little different flavor ice cream from Penn State.
All right, I love it. Jake, who do you think is going to win the Penn State-Ohio State game?
Shut up.
Cool. Let's go to Finn. Finn, what's up? He says, Ryan Day's legacy feels like it's on the line every Saturday. Why does it just feel like that with him?
Because, I mean, that's how small the margin for error is. Like that. And listen, this is what happens when you're at a place like Ohio State, right? They want you to win the big one. And it's been a while, right? Not that you haven't won any big games, but you haven't won the most important games, the Michigan game and then a national championship. So, again, it may feel like you think it's bad now. You think it feels this way against Nebraska. Wait until they play Michigan at home. Last game of the year when Michigan's like, I don't know, 7-4 or something. And Ohio State's, got the one loss and having to win to get in the Big Ten championship or the playoff, depending on how the Penn State game goes.
Their winning streak against unranked teams now goes back 6 years. I remember that Purdue game. I was at a wedding when the last time they lost to an unranked opponent against Purdue. I hadn't even proposed to Darby Lou yet, and we have 3 kids the last time they lost to an unranked opponent.
That's insane. All right, Blaine, keep going.
All right, let's go to Mike McLean. What's up, Mike? Says, when Penn State beats Ohio State this year, everyone is going to be like, well, Ohio State isn't that good this year. Anyways, it's never Penn State is just that good.
Well, whoever says that, just don't believe them.
Yeah, forget that. Forget them. Whoever's saying that, just get them out of your life. You don't need that.
Yeah, they're probably making bad
decisions. Beat the Buckeyes this weekend.
Yeah, they're probably like drinking too much and eating after 9.
Well, I do that a lot. Let's go to Bama Bob. What's up, Bobby? He says, Milroe fixing to run all over LSU and Bryant-Denny. Can't wait to see it.
Well, I thought Bama goes to LSU. It's
not going to be in Bryant-Denny. That would be impressive.
That would be unbelievably impressive.
This one's going to be in Baton Rouge.
So let's talk Bama, Missouri. I thought it was probably the best bet on the board for them to cover because even if, and I know Brady Cook tried to play, kudos to him. They weren't going to be able to put together enough points. And that's what they've done all season. That's been the question for Missouri. A lot of us were like, all right, what's going to happen with the defense? Blake Baker's going to LSU. We know the offense will be fine. Drink's an offensive guy. They got Brady Cook. They got Noel, Weiss Jr., Luther Burden. But the offense has struggled too. And listen, Alabama took care of business yesterday. The Drew Pine kid is just can't throw. That first interception he threw was one of the worst ones I've ever seen over the middle of the field. And Missouri wasn't going to be able to score enough to keep up with Bama. But I still don't think Bama played that great yesterday.
No.
That it didn't feel like that dominant performance offensively. For a team offensively to have as much firepower as Alabama has and as much creativity from their players, whether it be Jalen Milroe, whether it be Ryan Williams, whether it be Law, whether it be Prentice, any of these guys, how do you not have an identity yet? Like, how is there not an overarching identity of either we're going to bulldoze you and hit you deep, or we're just going to make wild plays because we're so athletic? It's like they're stuck in the middle, like stuck in neutral, Cone.
Yeah, Kirk Herbstreit made a point yesterday that was the same one that Blaine made throughout this week, which was, guys, we got to just stop thinking that Alabama's just going to bounce back and beat Missouri by 3 touchdowns just because that's what they've always done. And early on, it kind of looked like you guys were on the right side of this. I mean, it was 13-0 at halftime, but Missouri's offense just was completely incapable with Brady Cook going out. And even before he went out, it's just he's banged up, he's injured. And yeah, to your point, like Alabama did not look good, right? They did not look great, but it did look like, especially in the second half, they were playing the way that was necessary to win this type of game when the other quarterback's out and they're leaning on a crutch and you running the ball good. And I thought they made a great attempt. They're clearly cognizant of trying to get Ryan Williams the ball, and they're trying to run it well. And 271 on the ground yesterday against a top 25 team and a 34-0 win. I mean, you'll take that every day of the week. I still think on defense, though, you gave up 167, right? Like at some point, they're going to have to stop giving up so many rushing yards if they want to really make a run at the college football playoff.
Blaine, yesterday, and Kane Womack's a buddy of mine, and I want him to do well. But it felt, I know a lot of people have been talking about the defense that's been kind of a sore subject with Alabama fans. But didn't it feel a little bit? I've never questioned the authenticity of Alabama or the coaching staff or anything like that. But when they stopped Missouri on that 4th down and goal to preserve the shutout, that energy just kind of felt fake to me on the sideline. And I don't know. I could be wrong. I wasn't there. I'm not trying to find problems where they're not. But just something seems off. Something is just off, man. I watched every snap of that game yesterday, and you get a feel when you're watching teams, right? And it's just something feels off about Bama.
Well, I think what it is we're so used to seeing dominance on every position. From top to bottom, they were better than everybody for so long. And Jake, this, if anything, That might have felt fake, and I can somewhat see what you're getting at, but it's pretty damn hard to shut anybody out in 4 quarters of a football game. I don't care who's at quarterback, who's at running back, although that Pine kid did look terrible, and there's a couple passes on question on how you got a scholarship to an SEC football team. Trust me, I get it. But right now, guys, it's the same thing, and it's something we have to get used to. Even with a 34-point win, Alabama just doesn't look like that. It's that good of a football team. This defense doesn't look great between the tackles. It's okay, but
you were kind of breaking up when I heard
okay.
It just, to me, I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't good or it wasn't impressive. It's really, really hard to shut anybody out. But it was like that confidence, that arrogance. And maybe it's just because times have changed. Maybe it's because
that guy's not walking on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, man, it's just a different vibe. It's just weird to me.
It seems more like it's like with Nick Saban, it felt more private owned, right? Like it had like its own thing. Now it just feels commercialized, right?
It feels more corporate.
It feels like you could go into a gas station and get Alabama out of something and buy it. Back in the day, it felt like you had to go to a special store, call a special person just to even get in front of it and look at it.
Yeah, and we had to beat him to death with his.
I wonder, is that just a product of the new age of college football with NIL and the transfer portal, and guys want to quit even a moment's notice, and you owe them, and you have to pay them, and they owe you in the program nothing. They owe the logo nothing. I wonder if that's bigger than just an Alabama problem.
It might be, and maybe Saban was the biggest coach yet. Maybe that's it. But I don't know. Just watching it, even being an Auburn fan, like it just is different. But speaking of Auburn,
yes, man. Oh man,
it's like it's like if I don't kiss my wife for a couple of days, and then I kiss her, you're like, yeah, man, like that was all, man, that feeling. This is what it feels like to win, David. I don't know how much of this game you watched. I know there's a ton going on at this time, and it was tough to kind of get all the games you wanted to in that 1-4 box. But Auburn, it was back and forth. They got down early, didn't play very well. Just two teams that struggle to finish, struggle to find a way to make explosive plays. I mean, the last 4 minutes of that game, I mean, Auburn's up, but it's still, it's as an Auburn fan, you're sick to your stomach wondering how we're going to lose it. What do you think? For at least a week now, maybe Hugh Freeze will get some sleep.
I was flipping back and forth to catch this one because I took Kentucky money line of all weeks to do that. But look, and when it got 24-10 in the fourth, I was really dialed in then because I thought, here we go again. If they blow this one.
No, I wouldn't have shown it. Probably wouldn't have shown up today. Honestly.
You don't think so?
No, probably not. I'd have had to take it personal. It'd have been personal.
No, great win, man. Great win on the road just to stabilize the program just a little bit. You win the turnover battle, you win third down, won the time of possession. Good things you can build off of. One question I wanted to ask you guys that I did miss though was Vanderbilt. Did he get pulled out of the game or was he injured?
So it looked to me like they pulled him.
Okay.
Again, I had it on the 4 box, I had the volume on the Miami FSU game.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, Blaine, rumor has it it's because the older guys.
Yeah, they had it in them. They had it in them. Dude, it's just, look, and I'm not trying to get at anybody, any Kentucky fan or Auburn fan or anything like that, but watching that game last night, I felt like I was watching Miami, Ohio play Ball State in the SEC.
It wasn't pretty.
It was a tough watch, for sure. Glad we won. I was the most scared in this game when we were up 2 touchdowns left with 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Not when we were down 10.
Yeah.
Not when I didn't have a single shred of fear in me. We're up 14 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds
shaking
left.
with fear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm crying in the bar in the corner. And I tweeted, man, it's just I just want to get to the point where I'm watching Auburn games and we're up 17 with 3 minutes left, and I can be like, we're gonna win.
Joyless murder ball.
Let me just enjoy this last 3 minutes and not just.
I'm to the point now where I would just love in that scenario. I would love to feel nothing. I would love to just feel nothing. I don't even have to take the, hey, we're gonna win. I just want to feel nothing at that point other than, okay, how are we going to blow this?
But
I'm constantly in that state.
Great win, but still a lot of things to fix, right? A lot of things.
Yeah. Well,
you want to talk about
fixing
something. You want to talk about something that'll
Kentucky.
piss me off for the rest of time.
What?
Okay. How you don't get your field goal team out there
before half.
with 12 seconds left to go. First of all, you can't take a sack. It's Peyton Thorne. I get it. Trust me. Whatever bad thing's going to happen is going to happen to that guy and us. All right?
You should tell him to do the opposite thing. You should
take a sack.
No, like you should look at Peyton Thorne in that moment and be like, hey, take a sack.
Not even that.
Please.
You have to be prepared. How do we run 14 guys out there?
That was bad. What it looked like victory formation on the field goal.
Hey,
boy knew he was so cooked. The 14th guy, he just got behind the center and did this.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I thought they were going to lose the game at that point. I said, "Here we go again."
You said Dan got away with 12. They'll never notice 14.
Can't make a field goal.
So wait, at what point in the game did you post the whiskey hammer gun picture?
I posted that at least 4 times during the game. I didn't see the start of the game, but I did walk in and we were down 7-0 already, so I posted it then.
It wasn't good. You missed the worst part then.
Then I came back and we were on like our own 8-yard line, and I posted it again. I was like, this couldn't have started worse.
Yeah, that's when I knew we were going to win, when it started out that bad.
Yeah.
Because it always totally switches at some point. For Auburn. Speaking about totally switching, though, Florida State. Woo!
What a weird game.
What a weird. Did that game feel like it went unbelievably fast?
Well, yeah. I mean, Cam Ward had 0 touchdown passes.
I mean, they just ran.
He had a receiving touchdown. I think Miami had 240 plus rushing yards. I think Mario wanted to make this one hurt in in a really vindictive way. You know, it's like not like
big boy him for
we're not going to come out here and shoot threes today. All right, it's going to be a lot of elbow work.
Yeah,
going to get the ball to the big guy.
A lot of post work. It's going to be a lot of DJ Burns from NC State type of work out there today, and that's what it was. Florida State's, man, I don't. Guys,
they can't fire Norvell. You can't fire him this year because of last year. Like
you got to hide him. You got to hide him.
How do you hide him? You just they do
Biden? You have to cancel the rest of your games.
You have to cancel them?
You have to cancel the rest of you have to do something. Because like at this point, like it's either that or you got to find that guy. All right, and you got to string him up on campus. And
they still have Charleston Southern. Surely they'll win Charleston Southern, right?
I don't know. Charleston's pretty good this year.
Yeah. They're from the southern part of Charleston too, David. So
they have them. Do they have Charlotte as well?
Charlotte put up and look, Charlotte almost beat Memphis yesterday.
Yeah.
I watched the end of that game on ESPN Plus. Memphis had to win a 50-50 ball late to win that game. They were going to lose.
That one was tight. Now they got North Carolina, Notre Dame, Charleston Southern, and Florida.
Oh, damn. They got that Florida game at home?
Yeah.
They may lose to Florida.
You think?
Legitimately. That game will last 8 minutes because all they're gonna do is run the ball. But no, you can't fire Norvell. It's just, what does he have to go next year? Like, that's the question. Like, all right, we can't fire you. I mean, we can, but we won't. But this, because of what you did the year before. But I mean, you messed around to go 3-9. You probably have to flip it at least 9-3. Which, I mean, when you live in the portal and die in the portal, that's kind of the way it works. But speaking about living and dying, bro, Navy, what?
6
Come on, guys. What are we doing?
Look,
what are we doing?
Look, I'm
humbling punts.
I'm done. A group of high school should not be in the playoff.
Don't do what you're gonna do. They
shouldn't be in the playoff.
Well, I understand you saying nobody should get an automatic bid unless you win your conference, right? Group of 5 or Power 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand that. But just to say no, you don't have the chance. When you look at some of these other Group of 5 teams that I think can win a playoff game and should be, I don't think you totally keep them out. Like, I understand your rationale of, hey, they shouldn't get an automatic spot, right? It's an at-large spot. It should just go to the best teams. But I don't agree with we shouldn't let any group of 5 teams in because they'll never be good enough. I don't think
I'm not saying you can't get in. Like, I'm not
I don't know. You kind of made it
from
sound
the
like
playoffs.
that.
Yeah, no, I'm not telling you to shut up and dribble. Like,
Yeah.
you can get in if you wanna, but you're gonna have to schedule worthy enough opponents to get you in.
But I mean, and I don't look. Army's better than Navy. Navy fumbled the ball. They fumbled 2 punts.
You got killed
twice.
You got killed on national television in front of your families and everybody. We all saw it.
It was as ugly as it could be.
We all saw it.
Does it ever make you worry, like when you're watching like the Army or Navy or Air Force get their ass kicked like that? You're like, well, if you can get your ass beat by if like you can't stop the power, then like I know it's a totally different realm.
No, I know because like at the end of the day, I mean, what's harder, clicking a button or blocking a nose from Ole Miss? Like I don't.
Well, one of the guys up there, David, was telling me that all of the players on the service academy, well, specifically Navy's football team, still have to like have weight requiremts. So they can't be over like 185 pounds, or maybe it's like based on height, and they give you a leniency.
We're setting.
How are you supposed to block Notre Dame's front seven?
I don't know. They're like, listen, so the right guard cannot be over 220 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, then this is a suicide mission.
Yeah, we're sitting in the jungle with a worn down machete. See you in a week, buddy. Good luck.
Blade said, what's harder, clicking a button?
Yeah, what's harder?
The notes from
flying a drone or blocking an end from Clemson? Good God.
Oh my gosh!
Notre Dame, though. Notre Dame just keeps on winning.
Does Notre Dame have a big one this weekend? I know after this weekend they have.
I got it right here.
Florida State.
So they've got Notre Dame 7-1. They've got Florida State.
So they have a bye week next week.
Yeah, they play them on the 9th, so November 9th. Then they got Virginia, who got beat by North Carolina at home yesterday.
Yeah.
Then they got Army, all right, who's ranked 23rd. And then USC on the road.
Yep.
Good hit on USC. What was that, a Thursday game, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Game?
I completely forgot to talk about that. I forgot that game even came on. It was so late.
Dude, by the way, that under in the Indiana-Washington game was that game was so beautifully just concocted for that under to hit at the end. Hey, I looked at Indiana's schedule. They're going 11-1, fam.
Yeah.
They're going 11-1.
I think Indiana is good enough to maybe win a national championship.
With Rourke. Right, I don't think the Taylor Jackson kid they can win it with.
But
even though he wasn't terrible.
The way he stepped in and won that game for him, man, hats off to him
for sure. All right,
also, how about the SMU Duke game? Overtime last night, surviving. Well, Manny Diaz
going for 2 there.
Going for 2 at the end.
I would have 2.
Smooth all over you. Smooth.
Dude, Duke, low-key problem. Like, I think
we knew
Manny's
Malik
done a great job.
Skills. Yeah, we knew Malik had some skills from Texas, right? I mean, it's just my question, what Mike Elko did such a great job of there was like getting all the juice out of the squeeze defensively from those guys. And Manny's a defensive guy, started out as a video guy at Florida State, ends up being a defensive guy. But I didn't think they'd be able to transition that well with all they lost. SMU, man, I'm almost afraid to talk about it because I'm a jinx them, right? Because I picked them to do big things.
Well, sooner or later you're going to have to talk about them. You do a national sports show.
So, well, I know that's what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to slowly get into it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slowly bring it up over time.
Okay, as long as you're safe here, it's a trust tree. All right, let's get to these donations. If you donate today, guys, really appreciate it. Let's go to a $5 donation from David Cohn for president. Booster Club, make your voices heard. Get out there and vote. Early voting in Tennessee goes on for one more week. Absolutely, make sure you get out there and vote,
Royals
guys.
Award voter.
$10 donation from Zach. What's up, Zach? If Will Worth doesn't break his ankle in 2016, that's the best Navy team this century. Hate to say it, but I've thought these guys have been frauds all year. The current schedule is deceptively weak.
Well, man, they had that win over Memphis, though. He's talking about Navy, I guess?
Yeah.
That win over Memphis was a good win, man.
It was, and they said Horvath screwed up his hand, his right hand, I can't remember if it was a week in practice or the game before. And when you're running the triple option, number one, if you're the quarterback and you screw up your throwing hand, it's going to be a problem. But when you're trying to, that's why I think they fumbled those couple times. Because when you're trying to run the triple option and pitch those balls and do all that with a messed up hand, that is not an easy thing to do. David, you know Notre Dame, buddy.
Also part of this equation, guys, is Notre Dame continues to improve throughout the season.
That's true.
I mean, Denbrock is getting the most out of Riley Leonard. He's playing better through the air. As far as a running quarterback, guys, he might be the best in the country. I mean, doesn't he lead rushing touchdowns right
now? He runs like Josh Allen a little bit.
He does look like Josh Allen.
He's thrown the ball a lot better the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, he has.
Well, they were running wide ass open because Navy was blitzing a ton but could never get there. So they had guys run that first drive where Notre Dame had the ball. Navy blitzed every time and just got shredded. So,
I don't know. My Notre Dame playoff pick, what did I have him? I had him as the 6th seed. That's still alive.
It's still alive. Hell yeah, still alive.
So a $2 donation from Jeremy Brandt. Appreciate it, Jeremy. Said, need investigation into the refs at the Nebraska game. Something smells funny.
Well, if they were ever going to cheat for anybody, I guess Ohio State would maybe on that list. Maybe.
What about were you guys watching the Ole Miss game in the 11 o'clock?
Yeah, I watched every play.
What was the targeting call there? Did they overturn that targeting call near the end?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Might have been before halftime, actually.
I'm pretty sure that they overturned it, which was the right call.
I was trying to watch that at the same time as Indiana and Notre Dame.
I thought Jackson Arnold looked all right yesterday.
I just thought Ole Miss. Ole Miss is just not a playoff team.
Offensively, man, I get Trey Harris is hurt. All right, I get that Harris is hurt, but y'all should have 11 other dudes. This is the whole reason y'all got this team together. They're just not explosive.
As
to me,
I tell you what, there's one thing I can notice when I watch Oklahoma play, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They play their guts out.
Oh yeah,
they played their absolute guts out for Brent Venables, and you can see it on every. They kicked Ole Miss's ass up front.
They really did,
especially on key downs. And Ole Miss didn't take the one thing you need to take away, which is a running quarterback. But even in the loss, I thought Oklahoma looked well. They looked good. Let's go to a $5 donation from OG. What's up, OG? Nuss decisions have been bad, but can we also agree that the play calling has not been good offensively, and we haven't set him up well either?
Man, come on, Garrett.
You can't run the ball. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all, and I've said it the entire week. I don't care who you are at quarterback. All right. Cam Ward, I'm sorry. You're not going to sustain winning football games by getting back there and throwing it 40 to 50 times a game. Sooner or later, you're going to have to turn around. The team that's going to win the national championship is a team that can turn around, get 4 yards, and play pretty damn good defense.
Man, you know who's taking that to heart right now is Colorado, because Colorado these past 2 weeks, especially, I think they have over 100 yards on the ground the past 2 weeks. They're clearly thinking in the back of their mind, all right, if we want to really win this conference and make the college football playoff, we have to have some semblance of a rushing attack, despite how good Shedeur is and Travis Hunter and all these skill guys. So they're at least trying to get that ground game going.
Another impressive week from them as well. I mean, I keep being impressed by their sustainability. There's that word again on the line of scrimmage, because that was the biggest question. And now that we're heading into week 10, which is crazy to think about, the fact that they're still in there swinging up front with the pieces they have around, and obviously the quarterback piece and Shedeur. I mean, Colorado can win that league. They can,
and they don't turn the football over.
No.
All right, let's go to a $2 donation from Q's. Q's, what's up, brother? He says, Crain boys, how we feeling about playing Vandy next week?
Not good.
Not great.
Not good. Last time that man came into this stadium, bad things.
Yeah, I don't feel good about anything when it comes to Auburn football.
No.
Did get a dub, though. Yeah, we'll take that. $2 donation from JW. What's up, brother? Says, I was at the Florida-Texas A&M game. Reed is the real deal. That kid looks nice, man.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He throws better than what I thought.
Yeah. $2 donation from Bubba and Old Man Auburn Sports Talk. He says, War Eagle fellas, great team win, 278 yards.
Feels good to
I think
feel
that's the record,
good
right? Isn't that the
again.
record for this year? Jarquez the most rushing yards in a year? Because
Yeah,
I was talking about
Jarquez been playing good the whole year. He's been running
Yeah.
good the whole year.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Ashton Genty dropped 250 one game.
Yeah, how much did Genty end up with the other night against UNLV?
It was like 125, 128
on like 33 carries, so which isn't great. And UNLV's run defense is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But some teams get up for certain guys,
For sure.
$5 donation from Tyler. Appreciate it, Tyler. He says, fellas, good waking up undefeated and state champs. Go Crain.
Let's go. I feel like a motivational speech may have helped out.
Yeah, Genty had 128 on 33 carries and a touchdown. It's about 3.9 average along a 16. I mean, if your worst game is a buck 28 and a touchdown, you're nice.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
Yeah, you're doing something right.
$5 donation from Bo. Appreciate it, Bo. Bo B says, we finally won an SEC game. Now time to prepare to get waxed by Vandy.
Look, took care of business already. We're did what we had to do. Let's on to recruiting.
$5 donation from Mike and Mike. He says, boys, am I crazy? Are them fellows up in Tuscaloosa gettable this year?
Well, it just depends on by who.
Don't do that right now.
By LSU?
Yeah, I'm not ready.
It's 9:30 on a Sunday, brother.
Yeah, I'm actually not ready to have that conversation. Yeah, like it's just so fast. Like Auburn beats Kentucky.
We just beat
a bad Kentucky team. Remember who we still
got.
got.
Cluster of the conference to Bama's gettable.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like I told you. I mean, sometimes the Slump Buster can look good too, David. I mean, maybe they flipped the script. Oh wow, you drank less alcohol this summer. You're looking better. You're looking, now all of a sudden you're not the Slump Buster, right? You're the one that people are trying to get through the Slump Buster to get to, but then you become the Slump Buster again. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands. Thank you all for everybody who donated today, guys. I really appreciate it.
Cone, anything we missed that you want to hit?
Freddie Freeman, walk-off grand slam. He should still be in Atlanta.
There's a dark cloud in New York.
I knew you were gonna say it.
There's a
walk-off grand slam.
They're down two, fellas.
Yeah, but they go back to New York now.
Well,
good.
Blaine,
You know what's there, David?
What?
A dark cloud.
With a dragon? Caw-caw.
A dark cloud with this face on it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you check us out tomorrow live, 2 p.m. Central. Enjoy the NFL Sunday. We're going to put out our bets as well. And like the chances of Blaine. Hold on. Did you shave your mustache?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't want it. It's just I'm stupid.
That's going to get to Owen Wilson. Wow. All
Wow.
right. We appreciate you guys. We'll check you out tomorrow.
Dad?
It's your dad? Y'all be good. See ya.